This is the Ask Amberleigh Show.
Welcome to the Ask Amberleigh Show, where everybody is the host.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's a pleasure to have you. Today I'm your host, and my name is Katie Rose McConnell. Now I get to ask you all these questions that
I know
I have been hanging on to for years
God.
about beliefs and reality.
Yeah.
Especially with food. Because I remember when you were talking recently in one of your talks about your food is whatever you're assigning to it. It's good for you because you say it is, bad for you because it's not. So a year ago, I find out I've got Hashimoto's thyroid disease. And my thyroid has always been kind of tricky, but now it's like full blown all over. And so I've learned from my doctor, like it's all like inflammatory responses. So gluten can kick it up and dairy can kick it up. So now I don't eat gluten anymore. And my migraines have gone away. Migraines I've had my whole life. I don't have anymore.
Wow.
If I eat gluten, they will come back.
Right.
Is that because now I've assigned my migraines to gluten? Or is there like a physical reaction that does happen when I consume it, but someone next to me can eat it, no problem?
Yes. So there are a lot of things that go into that. So it could be that you're deficient in an enzyme that breaks down gluten, which there are enzymes that break down gluten.
And that's like a physical...
That's a physical level thing. But what is informing your body to not create that enzyme? That's those belief systems. So Hashimoto's is autoimmunity. Your immune system and your emotions work very similarly. Your immune system is supposed to bring in the good stuff and keep out the bad stuff. Your emotions, you're supposed to express all of it. But if you're keeping in the bad stuff, you're telling your immune system, let me let in these toxins and let it attack my nervous system or my thyroid or whatever it is. The thyroid is the seat of expression. So it's like twofold. It's an expression that's getting suppressed. So the autoimmunity is the repression and the suppression of those feelings, thoughts, and emotions.
So I need to let it all out.
Yeah, that would be great.
And then, and yeah, that programming has been set since childhood for me. Like being told, like, that's kind of something you should keep to yourself, sweetie. Like don't disrupt anyone else's peace. Make sure you keep it cute, keep it polite.
Right.
Put a smile on, make them laugh. And that's still something I'm like, but is that what human beings do?
Well, apparently it's what our culture does.
It's what we do.
But no, journaling is something that's helpful. You know, writing out your feelings if you feel like you're still not comfortable with expressing them. A big thing for autoimmune patients in general, but typically like ALS, things like that, is their inability to say no to people.
Oh.
Like they cannot say no. And it's really nice people.
Yeah.
But are they nice because they're genuine, or are they nice because they've learned to suppress?
Yeah. Or because they're afraid of what would happen if they're not nice.
Yeah, they would lose that attachment and connection to people outside of themselves. That's the fear. So
that is the fear.
Yeah.
Whether it's real or not, the fear is like the driver.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we pick up on all these things from childhood that we just keep repeating over and over and over again in our lives. And it's working on expressing your authenticity and using tools to do that, to start allowing your organ system to start operating efficiently and your immune system getting back up to par by teaching it it's safe to express. It's safe to get these emotions and these feelings and thoughts out of you by working with journaling or body work. It could be exercise. It could be anything that is helping you express. That's going to help that situation.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like, for people who've never had boundaries before or not firm boundaries, it is so scary to set that boundary.
Yeah.
But then when you find, like, it is safer to do that, you get more comfortable doing it and enforcing it, and then you kind of feel yourself breathe a little deeper that, like, I did that, and it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be.
Right.
And in so many directions of my life where I've tried to, like, okay, we're going to do a boundary now. And I get so nervous and worked up about it, but then, like, no one cares. Okay, it's a boundary.
Right.
Like, it gets respected or tested.
Right.
But I feel a little stronger just having named that I want a boundary
right.
here. And so I feel like relief in that.
Yeah. Well, you're giving yourself permission and dropping your judgment around all of it. You're not judging yourself like, well, what are people going to say or do if I say this or put in that boundary?
They're going to think I'm mean.
Right, exactly. Like, if that's mean, stating what your boundary is, that's not mean.
Right.
But we've been programmed
to think,
well, their need for me to do this thing is more important than my need or my body.
Right.
And that's teaching your body over and over again. Your body's signals and what it needs and the nourishment and the nutrients and the enzymes don't matter.
Yeah.
So then you're stuck with not being able to like absorb and pull in things that are even good and nourishing and joyful.
Because you're actively disassociating from your own experience right now. Like this is painful and uncomfortable, but they matter more.
Right.
So I'm going to exist in this way. And I will detach from this feeling, which maybe protected us from pain at some point, but we're not meant to have that armor on every day, all day.
Right.
What does make me happy is when I'm painting and time doesn't exist anymore and hours have gone by, I haven't even gone up to pee, like I'm just in the zone. And when we talk about vibrations and frequencies and resonance, that's the mental image I have, is that feeling. And so sometimes, like, I don't know how much people are aware that that's what they should be chasing, is when do you feel like that?
Yeah.
Have you felt that way? Have you even found it yet? Like, what is your groove? Do you know how to get in it and like stay there as long as possible?
Well, I think especially for people who do have or struggle with expression or even creativity or expression in general, and they've suppressed, you have to find an avenue that you're allowing yourself to finally express. And when you tend to suppress and you found one avenue that's giving you permission to say, okay, it's safe to express here in this way now, it's like the floodgates can open. So you get in that zone so quickly because it's suppressed in other ways in your life. We're really first and foremost creators and producers of things.
And we want to show you. We want your applause too. Like, we're very social.
Yeah.
I made this thing and I loved it, but I would love it even more if you love it too.
Right.
I just feel, well, maybe that's just me, like as an artist who makes work that people purchase.
Right.
I hope you love it too. Because now we both love it and I made it, so I'm proud of it.
But I think the challenge is, can you make something for no purpose other than just to express?
Sometimes when I cook dinner, I see what you're saying, just the act of the creator.
Yeah.
And I did it.
Yeah. That's one of the hardest things for people, especially in our culture, to just create and produce for the sake of it.
Can you tell the future?
Okay, so
9 things could happen today.
Yeah, so there are like potentials. Everyone has the capability of like quantum leaping. So meaning you have, say you're playing the piano and you have like key notes that are next to each other. Typically you're going to hit the notes right here if you're focused on these notes or these keys. But you have keys over here too. You have the right to go boom and go all the way to the end of the piano if you want to. It might not sound remotely the same as the keys over here. It's going to look so different. So you can quantum leap in that way. Like you can be on these timelines. Like, okay, these are the 10 keys that are closest to these notes that you're hitting that are in resonance with one another. So the potential is extremely high that you're going to choose these. But you have a right to completely flip and go like that to a different reality, a different experience, a different expression. So whenever I'm quote unquote reading the future or psychic ability or whatever, it's never a 100% guarantee for anyone. It's always, these are the strongest potentials of where you're at right now today, what you're pulsing out and what you're vibrating and all the energy you're pulsing, the patterns you have, the programs you have. But that's not to say you might have an amazing experience that, or like witness a miracle that changes your whole definition of what reality is. And then you go and flip a switch and now you're pulsing completely new patterns because your belief changed. The belief is what's driving those energetic patterns to start pulsing out. So if you can change your belief quickly,
Yeah.
that can look like a quantum leap or a miracle or something that didn't take time to get to the key notes down here.
Yeah.
Like you can take time and that's great. But if you quantum leap, like if there's a spontaneous healing, it's just a rapid change of belief systems. That looks like a miracle.
Yeah.
But if you have, like, since we're Catholic, we'll go with that theme. If you have a bunch of people praying over you, or if you go to Medjugorje or a place that is pulsing a resonance of an A note, boom, 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 and you're playing out a D note.
Yeah.
If the A note is stronger, the pulsing out is stronger than the D note, your D note will atrophy and weaken and you will adapt to the A note. Mm-hmm. That looks like the miracle. Mm-hmm. So it could be if everyone is praying around you, thinking the same exact thought and the intention and the belief and pulsing that out into your energy field, you have a greater chance of picking up on that new frequency and then have that miracle happen.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a miracle, but it's because it didn't take time to get there. That's why we're like, oh my God, it's a miracle. It's like
I'm so shocked by that.
Right.
Yeah.
But scientifically, you can do that. Like if you just change the frequency quickly with all the patterns that go along with it, that's what the miracle is.
I think it's kind of interesting how our kids, no matter what, are going to sit in a chair one day and talk about how we messed them up despite our best efforts.
Yeah.
And if you feel unhappy, oh God, how do I get out of this? Immediately distract myself. Even if I don't feel happy, at least I'm not thinking about feeling pain.
Right.
And when we teach that to our kids, we're just crippling them if they don't know what to do with feeling anxious or uncomfortable or disappointed.
Well, we teach them to suppress.
Totally.
Because we're uncomfortable.
And then they're going to get Hashimoto's.
Right. But if we're uncomfortable with their expression, they don't know yet how to suppress.
Right.
We're programming them.
Yeah.
That's not allowed because I'm uncomfortable now that you're in pain.
Because I don't know what to do with that.
Right. But instead, use it up as an opportunity, not punishing the child for expressing, not saying that you are, I'm saying in general, people do this. Like, if you cry, I'm going to punish you, or like, don't scream out loud, whatever, all these things. So they learn over time to suppress. It might not be the most appropriate time for them to be expressing whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
But at home, talking about it or saying, I'm glad that you expressed that. It's good to get it out. How can I help you? Or, things that are more of a conversation or getting the child to understand that their feelings are valid and that their expression is needed and necessary and vital for their health and well-being. What you need to learn as a parent is how to sit with that, still stay in your own energy while witnessing someone else in pain that you want to take away from them. Because one, you don't want them to hurt, but two, you don't want to hurt.
Yeah.
So it's being comfortable in the expression of whatever that is. It's really dropping your judgment of what's allowed versus what's not allowed. So it's getting comfortable with that in yourself too, practicing expressing and feeling all those feelings. And then that also, when you're comfortable with that, you feel very safe to a child because they're going to feel like no matter what they can express and it's valid, even if it's temporary. Emotions are temporary. Like you'll express it and get it out and then be done with it. Like some of the most healing things are when you like cry it out. You're like, God, I feel so much better after.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't do anything to actually fix whatever the problem is, it feels so much better. It's cathartic.
Or just saying it.
Exactly.
This happened to me today. I feel so mad.
Yeah.
And then you sort of almost feel like, oh, I don't know. Was I really that mad?
Right.
But now I feel better.
Well, and it helps when, you might be feeling a certain way and you're not expressing and someone's like, hey, what's going on? Even someone just acknowledging that, even if you don't tell them what's going on, you kind of just feel better.
When they know that something's off.
Yeah. And care enough to...
They comfort you by just being present with you.
Right.
Witnessing that with you.
Yeah, because we fear not being attached.
Yeah.
Or connected. So if someone's saying, hey, what's going on? They're offering attachment and connection. So just knowing that you have that fundamental need met, you might not even have to express at that point. But the two fundamental needs are attachment and then the need to be authentic. So if you are not willing to be authentic, but someone is offering attachment and connection, that's half the battle.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you need to do both.
Yeah.
And also drop your attachment to others really as an adult, because you understand that the connection's always inside of you. That's a whole nother ballgame. But as a child, the way to get your needs met was by attaching.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so vital for a child, because their attachment is outside of themselves to survive until they grow into an adult. But what we do is we're taught as children, you're not going to attach to me unless you suppress that emotion, because I'm not accepting of that emotion. So the child learns to suppress to be attached.
Yeah.
And get that connection to get their needs met.
If I perform this way, it's approved.
Right.
So I'm just going to keep doing that, even if it's not authentic.
Right, because now I can attach and get my needs met.
Yeah.
So, but as adults, we don't lose that program. We're not realizing that now we have the opportunity to meet our own needs. So we're trying to attach still to and win over approval of everyone by being nice, by not being a bitch, by doing this and go along to get along, all those things. And then now we have physical manifestations of that energy that's just sitting and not going anywhere.
And I think that point that you made about like when you now know how to provide for yourself, when you're feeling certain things, it probably, I assume, makes you a better partner to somebody else too.
Right.
Because if I'm only looking at my partner to attach to and to fix and to solve and to comfort, if I can't do that for myself, it's a very draining experience for someone else, and it makes them feel like I have to perform like this all the time so that she feels safe or she feels secure.
Right.
And so if you can find a way to lean on somebody and also stand on your own 2 feet.
Right.
And there's a balance there. You can still be vulnerable.
Right.
And open up and learn and grow together. But you also know you're good. I'm good. I know what this is, and I know where it came from. And I know how to like experience this in a new way. And I think that's a lot of like undoing the traumatic responses we all have trauma that we're trying to acknowledge and deal with and reduce those markers of like the stuff we do to avoid pain that's keeping us from fully being in this moment.
Right. Well, it's not it's making your partner responsible for the way that you feel. That you want to take responsibility for how you feel. And like, yes, we all have our own traumatic experiences or things that we're trying to work through. But the key is not making your partner responsible for that. You're taking ownership of it. So that means you have some more power over it and some more control over it. You have an opportunity to do something about it versus that power lying outside of you, and now your partner holds that power over you to make you feel a certain way. That's not that partner's job. Your job is to feel that way regardless of what your partner's doing.
Right.
But your partner's your biggest mirror. So like if those triggers are going to come up, and you're not going to like it, you're going to want to blame and point at, I don't like the mirror. But it's just a mirror.
You did that, mirror.
Right. You did that, mirror. You showed me what I don't want to see.
Exactly.
Right? But the mirror is neutral. So you got to go in and say, okay, like you can't just shatter the mirror.
No.
It's still inside of you. So like you got to
And another mirror is going to pop up. You can't escape them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's addressing those things, taking responsibility for that.
Hard stuff, hard shit to do.
Yeah, these relationships. These questions are good.
Okay, next. So the spiritual guide, in like kind of what we transitioned to talking about now, different than a ghost?
Yes. Yeah.
Because like to access that and to have that feeling of like, sometimes I do talk to her and I can hear, or I'll just be going about my day and I can hear her make a joke.
Yeah.
That like, she's not here. Did I just invent that in my head? But it's like, I know exactly what she would have said in this moment.
So that's mediumship. So like you'll get wisps of it.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. A wisp.
Yeah, and it feels like it's your own thought almost, but you know it's something, it's slightly tuned to a different frequency that you're like, okay, it's outside of you a little bit. It's slight.
Yeah.
So that's why I work with subtle frequency. You have to practice this so that you know the delineation between your own thoughts, your own body, your own energy, your own life versus something that's coming in. It's always when you're like, was that something? Yes. The answer is unequivocally yes.
Because I remember in our session, this is what blew me away. And what I try to tell people, like, was not anticipating the medium component of our session. And then when we got in it and you were naming things, and I know everybody says this, but stuff I've never told you, stuff I only recently had found out, you knew, you could name it. You told me one of them was trying to show me something. I saw that something the next day, and it wasn't vague. It was absolutely specific. And rocked my world. So like I believed before, but like after personally, like that is something I so envy. Like I wish I could just have that communication with my loved ones. And I'm like, you were gone too soon. I wish you were still here. I need you here. I miss you every day.
Right.
I wish I could tune in more to that communication. All right, next. So do you fear death?
No. I think biologically, as a human, I'm wired to fear death, but like conceptually, no.
So what do you fear? Or do you even bother with that?
Mondays.
Hell yeah. Amen.
No, but I mean, I do fear a lot of things because I'm trying to work on that actually. But your mind is like such a powerful thing that I'm fearful of my own mind sometimes because it's like, if you think you know something, then you can manifest that thing and then create that thing.
And move into that direction.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I fear a lot of things like snakes and, alligators, all the things. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm fearful of those
Human things.
Yeah. Human things, right.
Okay, speaking of animals, I want to talk to animals. I do talk to animals. I ascribe voices to them, and I assume I know what they're saying back to me.
Yeah.
Are animals struggling with I want to tell her to shut up and stop talking to me in that stupid voice?
No, the great thing about animals is that they're unconditional.
Oh, thank God.
I know. They're so cute.
We don't deserve them.
We don't, because they, and when I say this, I'm meaning pets really, but I mean, animals in general are unconditional. So they don't really have judgment. They're here to be. And so they teach us, they're mirrors for us. They teach us how to just be instead of they're not, we're not supposed to be human doings, we're not supposed to just do. It's we're supposed to be and enjoy. Yeah. And if I want to sleep on a stoop for 7 hours.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do, you know? So, but then when it's time to fight, it's time to fight,
Sure.
So it's very interesting. Animals are so interesting because they provide such a service for us. It's unconditional love. Under no terms or conditions are they going to withhold love from you. I mean, of course, unless you abuse them, they'll be afraid to love you. Yeah. But it's still unconditional because they want to so badly just offer, they're just love.
Yeah. And so really going back to what we were talking about earlier, put away the to-do list and just be. Really, that should be the aspiration, is just do like my dog does.
Yeah.
Take a lot of naps.
Exactly. Yep.
Eat, drink, be happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Love it. Is that it?
That's what I got.
That was good. I love it.
I mean, it definitely stirred up more for volume 2, but yeah, we got through all my burning questions.
That's exciting because I know you've been having questions for months and months.
Oh yeah,
if not years.
I try to play it off we can just have a casual chitty chat, have a lunch, and I'm not gonna do that. I tell myself, don't do the thing, don't.
I know,
but I can't help it.
I know,
but I have so much respect for you.
Oh, thank you.
And I just really enjoy our time together. This is the clock doesn't exist. Lunches can last forever.
Yeah.
I'm sure you walk away completely drained.
No.
But I always feel revitalized.
Yeah. So funny. Depends on the day. No.
Yeah.
No, this was fun. I enjoyed all your questions. You had great questions. I loved them. But hopefully you got all the answers you were looking for. So.
And more.
Okay, good.
Here on the Ask Amberleigh show.
Yay.
Where everybody is the host.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Yeah, she's going to host now for the rest of the time.
Where only Katie Rose is the host.
Exactly.
No, this was awesome.
That's so funny. Thank you.